Hi, I'm J.R. Babineau, Senior Research Manager for Building Science here at Johns Manville. And today, we're going to talk about energy codes, why they're important, how they impact the insulation industry, and some of the important changes that have happened in the past several years. Building energy codes are part of the group of codes that set the minimum standards for buildings. Energy codes have been around in the U.S. since 1975, when they were introduced in response to the 1970s oil embargo and the resulting energy crisis. Over those 50 years, the energy code has improved such that a home built to the model energy code today would use about half of the energy of that same house built in 1975. Now that's quite a bit of savings, and much of that has been driven by improvements in the code for insulation and air sealing. For insulation specifically, energy codes are a big driver of how much insulation is installed in a building. Let's look at attics in homes as an example. Back in the 1970s, R19 was a pretty typical amount of insulation to see in an attic space, even in fairly cold climates. Today, R38 to R49 is the requirement in most areas of the U.S. Insulation is one of very few materials in a building where we are actually using more product even if the building doesn't get any larger. The energy code also impacts where insulation is installed. In the early versions of the code, walls were only insulated in between the framing. Current codes not only have us insulating wall cavities up to R13 or even R20, but we're now starting to require continuous insulation to slow the heat loss through the framing itself. In the past several code updates, we have seen several changes that impact insulation contractors, or will once the new codes are adopted. The first is insulation amounts. The 2021 code update made several significant increases to insulation R values, especially for attics, but also in walls and basements. Then, in 2024, the attic insulation levels were actually rolled back to the previous amounts. For walls, the requirements for continuous insulation were extended into warmer climates where they had not been before, and those are actually still in place. Another change is air sealing. For many years, the energy code called for air sealing, but it was just based on a visual inspection. More recent versions have started requiring actual testing of building air leakage. So what does all this mean for the typical insulation contractor? Well, first, it's always good to know as much as possible about the codes being enforced in your area. Even though we've been talking about the model codes, all building codes are adopted and enforced at the local level, and that can also include changes or amendments, so just knowing the model code usually isn't enough. The more you know about the codes and how to satisfy their requirements, the more you can be the expert that your builder customers turn to for solutions, and the less conflicts you will have with inspectors. To learn more about energy code requirements, you can check out the JM Insulation Intel resources or contact our JM Technical Services team. Finally, you can get involved. The code development process is open to all and needs active volunteers to be effective. Anyone can put forward a code change proposal, and updates that will appear in the 2027 codes are being debated right now.